Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Bad Moms in Business. We are here for another episode because we are back moving and grooving. And today we're going to talk about social media in the business world. Boom, boom, boom.
Now, this is a topic we have talked about before, but not in the way that we're going to discuss it today.
That's right.
Today, we're going to talk about how the way that you project yourself on social media can make or break your business.
So true.
Yes, I'm very passionate about this. I know we've talked about things in the past that we've disagreed on a little bit. And I think we kind of put this in the same lane as, say, like tattoos in the professional world. Like there's a lot of things that we've discussed, and there's actions have consequences, and if you're okay with the consequences, then so be it. But there's a lot of babies out there in the professional world that we feel like now we can mentor and say, stop it.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm very, very passionate about this.
I think you said something that was really interesting is that, everybody's level of professionalism on social media is going to be different. So you just have to figure out what works for you. So take everything that we say here with some sort of grain of salt, because what works for us may not work for you. Because I'm sure we have three probably very different opinions on stuff.
100%. And
maybe not very different, but like somewhat different.
Danielle, something, I hope you don't mind that I'm sharing this, but something that I thought of when we brought up this topic was that someone had reached out to you and had a comment about something that you'd posted on social media. I think it was on your business Instagram.
It was. Yep.
Are you comfortable sharing?
I'm 100% comfortable with it. Yeah. So all three of us are in real estate. We're all real estate agents, in Michigan. This was not a real estate agent, but it was somebody within our industry reached out to me, read one of my posts, and had very strong feelings about the fact that I had used a specific word in my post, which I won't say here because we keep it PG here.
But it wasn't like
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't anything super crazy in my opinion. Right. I have taken a couple of courses on social media, and I just think the biggest thing about social media is just being authentically yourself. I am not the craziest cusser in the world, and I do keep it professional when I am around people and stuff, but occasionally the rogue swear word will make its way into one of my posts because I think it hits home. Like it really delivers the message that I'm trying to take. It's more of like a shock factor, especially when it's coming from a business page. And it also just shows the kind of people that my husband and I are, since we work together. But this individual had very strong feelings about my post, and told me not to do that. And I respectfully told him that that's who I am. If somebody is willing to not work with me because of that, I am completely fine with that. There are amazing agents all over that would be glad to have a relationship with that individual if they're going to take offense to something that I posted. I never mean offense by anything that I post, but also I'm just going to be myself at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Let's be very clear. It's not like she's like going all Gary V. Like,
no. But I do love Gary V. Love him. But yes, I'm not doing that. It was one swear word. It wasn't even that bad of a word, in my opinion. And somebody took offense to it and had to let me know in a very lengthy post.
Yes. And like Amanda said, our actions have consequences, air quotes.
For sure.
So if someone saw that post and thought, oh my gosh, she said that word, I would never work with someone like that. That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's the same way I feel about my tattoos. Yes. Oh my gosh, she has tattoos. I would never work with someone that has tattoos. Okay. Amanda doesn't have tattoos. You can go work with Amanda.
Exactly. Tattoo list coming over.
Go ahead. But Amanda, Why don't you expand on why you thought this was such an important topic today?
And I feel like being authentically you is super, super important, right? Like you never want to lose who you are as an individual in the professional world. However, there's a professional way to be you too. And then there's a regular, like amongst friends way to be you. And this is coming off of an example is a group of professionals went on a vacation and there was some very vulgar and inappropriate pictures being posted on the vacation. And these people are
Google search here,
right? These are professional people. And, you know, while I love having fun and maybe my fun looks different than everybody's fun.
It does.
You know, I can be called a prude, right?
Without missing a beat.
It does. I mean, I think anyone who's been a listener for a long term knows like we're drastically different with what fun looks like. I'm like, oh, like, let's do a business plan. That's fun for me. Like, come on.
Hey,
like,
I'm right there with you on that one.
Right. But, you know, keep in mind that if you're posting those things, I know clients, potential clients, they validate you by going to your social media.
100%.
And I'm not talking to the 50-year-olds who are just rolling the way that they're rolling. I think my heart is more passionate and I want to, and they might not even be listening to these podcasts, but if you are an older woman who might be listening and you might be mentoring a younger baby in the professional world, give them some good examples of how to be a good professional on social media, where I don't necessarily think the message that Danielle received was appropriate.
I think the biggest issue, and if this person ever stumbles across our podcast, I don't want to offend this person at all, but also like if somebody is telling you, I appreciate your thoughts on this, but I respectfully disagree, just stop. You don't have to keep going. That turned into like a 45-minute conversation that needed to be one sentence.
Yeah, right. And I'm more of a cheerleader for showing people how to do things correctly or be, you know, a good example, not telling somebody how to do something, you know, because the minute you tell somebody not to do something, they immediately want to do it more.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when they're younger, especially if it hits wrong. And like you, Danielle, like you didn't feel like you did anything incorrect.
No.
It was one little baby swear word. And if you look at all of our social medias, I mean, Danielle's has some the cutest pictures with her tongue sticking out, like with some peace signs and stuff like that. And I'm like, I would never do that.
That's
I don't
what
think
I
it's
do.
for Danielle. For me, like it's totally wrong. Like, is Danielle's post wrong? No. But if she was sticking out her tongue with a hard liquor drink in her hand, doing a peace sign with 5 men like crawling over her.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's
not super into that. Not super into that.
To have on your social media when you're, you know, your at or your tag might be, you know, Danielle Realtor.
And I would go as far as to say that even someone who might live a lifestyle where they enjoy having a drink and party or, you know, whatever, I don't know that they would then turn to someone who embodies that lifestyle for a professional service.
That's super true. And also I don't even want to make this like professional related with this statement either. Jobs are looking at your social media to see what kind of person you are just in general. So like take those pictures, do what you got to do. You keep them in your phone. You know, You never know who's looking at your social media. And once it's out there, it's out there.
There was just an article. I didn't read it all yet, but excuse me. Basically, an employer went looking for someone's social media during the interview process. And during her interview said, like, we can't find you on social media at all. And it's because she purposely has everything under a different name or blocked, excuse me, because she wants to keep her social media or personal, again, with the air quotes, because anything you put on social media becomes public. It's not personal any longer, but she wanted to keep those things separate from her work. And I don't know if that's the way to go either. Because if an employer is going to look for you and you're just nowhere to be found, what are you hiding?
Yeah, it could be a bit of a red flag.
And maybe it's not, maybe she's not hiding anything. Again, I didn't finish the article, but she could just be posting pictures of her dog for all I know.
Right.
But
sorry, go ahead.
No, just employers look for that kind
they
of
do.
thing.
I used to work for a lab that when we were hiring for a position, she was not super tech savvy and she was not on social media. So while I was at work, she would hand me a stack of resumes and say, look these people up on social media, give them a grade. And so she would be sitting right there next to me and stuff. And we'd be looking at, all of their pictures and posts and stuff like that. I would be searching for specific words that she was asking me to search for, like on their Facebook and stuff, to see if they had said anything, negative or derogatory or anything. And that's how we selected the people that she was going to interview.
I think the modern day of references is looking at your social media, and not just that, like seeing who you're affiliated with, which can be,
that's a good point.
Who you're engaging with and who you're following. I think that's a big deal. I just want people to be careful, and I want them to be taken seriously. You can't expect to be taken seriously in the professional world if nothing you're doing behind the scenes is making anyone want to treat you professionally.
It's true.
Well, and I think it goes both ways too. If you're someone who is super political or super religious or super, I don't know, anything. We're talking about a lot of quote unquote negative things, but there could be employers or people who wouldn't want to do business with someone who identifies as Christian or identifies as Democrat or Republican. It goes both ways.
That's a really good point. It's not really 50%, but essentially you could be, isolating 50% of the population.
Absolutely.
And that sounds like a negative, but if it's who you are, if that's authentically you, if that's something that you really care about, go for it.
Yeah.
That's post totally whatever fair. It is that you want to post, but know that will be, your quote unquote consequence by potentially losing some people along the way.
And we talked about this in the past, even as far as a business level. I know I look at what businesses are posting.
Yeah.
And I know during the pandemic, we kind of talked about this on Marta's episode, like our couple seasons ago, how I really judge businesses when I feel like they're just opportunist to get on the bandwagon of the latest trend of wokeness or whatever. And I think I can see through it a mile away. There's the people who are sincerely trying to make the world a better place. And then there's the other companies that are only doing it for the opportunity because they think that they can get some extra likes, views, or whatever. And I can't stand that. So it does go both ways. I think there's a responsibility both at the business level and at the personal level.
Agreed.
Well, and I think it's obvious too, the flip side of that is when there is some sort of like national crisis. For example, when I think it was 2019, forgive me for not knowing, but there were a series of police involvement in the killing of Black people. I'll just say it that way.
Yeah.
Regardless of what side you're on, Black Lives Matter, wherever you fall, it doesn't matter. I mean, it does, but there were a ton of businesses that stood up and said, this is not okay. We are not okay with this. And then there were a ton of businesses that were silent. And your silence is deafening in times like that.
Silence in certain aspects is very much saying more than saying whatever your feelings truly are. Silence speaks volumes.
And I think if you're consistent, that you are just consistently staying out of current matters, I think that is okay, because I do think it is a slippery slope for companies to go down if they do not have the right people in charge of the message, because we know how words can get spinned into something that was never meant, where good intentions can turn ugly very quickly just because of a misstatement. And so I'm not against a company not speaking to very serious matters if they don't speak on any serious matters. You know, I'm not offended with that. It's the people who pick and choose the ones that they want to get behind.
Mm-hmm. Or like you said, jumping on a bandwagon. Oh, it's June and it's Pride Month, so we're going to change everything to rainbows. But the other 11 months of the year, we don't have that kind of stuff. It's very opportunistic.
And yeah, I don't feel like those who know me know that my love has no limit. I don't feel like me putting a fresh logo on my social media, to me, proves anything, whether like my love for those type of people are what matters.
I think there's a difference too, and how your social media is approached, because Amanda, you are a very personal person. I would say you probably know, and this is just me guessing, you probably know, like in person, like 90% of the people on your social media. That's just the vibe I get from you, where like, people add me and I just am like, sure, like, I don't know who you are, but that's fine. Like, let's be friends on Facebook kind of thing, where I feel like you are such a personal person. So I would say most people, just by knowing, your feelings on stuff that you don't have to boast or brag or post about it on social media.
Right. I think a lot of people don't know how political I am. I love politics, and you won't see me posting about anything political. Yeah. Like Danielle and Bridgette know where I stand, but not a lot of people do. And just because I really try to protect that portion, because like you said, I will isolate 50% of the people out there, because no one's going to, although let me pull up an image. I was going to post this later today, but I'll share it with you guys now. It's so fitting for our conversation. It is a big shout out to all the people who can change their minds when they're presented with information that contradicts what they believe. The world needs more open-minded people like you. And right. And I read that. And I think this last year for me particular, I think we know I've grown in a lot of ways, and I've eaten a lot of my words or thoughts. And so I pride myself that I do truly believe that if given the right information, I can change. So I do think I'm not necessarily isolating myself by 50% of the people. It's probably less than that. But I love a good open-minded person who's truly open-minded, not just says that they're open-minded.
Boy, you said a mouthful there. That is, I don't care what side you fall on. I feel like this conversation is kind of weird, but I don't care what side you're on. Just be open-minded to experience and to learn about all sides, because we'll leave it at that.
And I think this like really fits into the topic of the social media too. I'd be open-minded to the other side of the scenario. So if someone sees you posting inappropriate stuff and you do ask at some point, like what that person's thoughts are on it, and I'm honestly open with you, be open-minded and receive the message that I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it because I think your body is better than mine. I could care less. I love eating Taco Bell 50 times a week. I am what I am. But when I'm doing it, like I show the cute little body off on the beach in front of all the people. Take the pictures, all you want. Just present yourself, maybe not exactly how you were during a trip or whatever on social media. It stays there forever.
It's true.
I'm just a mom and I worry. And I think a lot of babies need to hear these messages, because they've never really known their own, I guess, starting in their teenage years without social media.
Weird.
Ugh.
It's sad, but if they're not being policed or given the example, because maybe their parents are posting just as poorly.
It's true.
Well, and I think that's going to lead into another topic that we have coming up, kids and social media, and the way that it's being weaponized for, I love to be dramatic, but it's
true though.
Yeah. So that was a good segue maybe into next week's.
Do you want to give it a little teaser, a little bit more in detail teaser about what next week's episode will be, Bridgette? Because I know it's near and dear to your heart, and I know a lot of people will benefit from the hard conversation.
Yeah, so next week we're going to talk about bullying in schools and out of schools. and how technology is being used to further the people's ability to bully and to be bullied. And it's unfortunately something that I have come to know pretty well. So that's what we're going to talk about next week.
So definitely tune in next week. I think if you're a parent, it's crucial. It's a crucial conversation, and it's an important one. So I'm excited to talk about that. I'm sorry that personal experiences have led to it even being a talking point of ours, but I do think, we have been gifted the power of gab, and that we can share these testimonies with people so they can feel a little bit better or learn something.
Yeah.
Right.
So with that being said, stop posting bad stuff on social media.
Yeah. Keep your boobs covered.
Right?
Put on some pants. I mean, if that's how you want to portray yourself to the world and you don't care if professionally or if an employer sees you that way, then you do you. But
no judgment here.
Yep, you do you. If I had the body for it, who knows what I would be posting, let's be honest. But if you're someone who is going to lose business because of what you're posting and then complain about it, you got to take accountability.
Agreed.
That's right. That is right. So we'll get off our soapbox and any final thoughts, ladies?
No, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Bye.